I was getting back into shot, and you forgot to press the magic button for the serene moment.
I was a little discombobulated. Hold on. I got to have a drink, and then we'll tell our story. Oh, what's the title
Cheers.
of Cheers?
Oh, that's so good. Drink of the night is a lovely meritage.
Oh, man, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And we need it.
We do need
Okay,
it.
so title of today's podcast.
Yes?
Poop. It's what's good for you.
I was going to say poop. There it is.
Yeah, maybe that one.
Maybe that one.
We will definitely be overlaying that if I can find it royalty free somehow.
Yeah. You know.
So let's tell our lovely audience. Thank you for the 3 of you that show up. Well, maybe a few more. Now we have.
Well, then I'll start with a subscriber in the wild because we
sure.
have 2 more people that joined us. Clinical Pharmacy bringing it this week. I ran into both Jackie and Michael on the floors who decided to start subscribing to our podcast. So thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Love you.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well,
Sure.
I love you. I don't know about Dave. Okay, so our story to start the night.
It's very
It's so
apropos.
Apropos. Yeah, so we had decided that tonight, after Ethan was in bed, we were going to do a podcast and we were going to talk about poop because, let's face it, a lot of our lives revolve around poop these days and most days and et cetera. So I had gotten our son out of the bath because we usually do bath time most nights. I don't know what camp we were in. Those of you who are parents, kids need a bath every night. Kids don't need a bath every night, but we do bath time most nights. And
Unless Julia's not home, then we skip bath night.
Right.
I'm in a different camp than
You're
Julia
in a different camp
is.
than I am. And you know what? That's fine. It's a good time killer. It's fun usually with him at the end of the day. Anyways, got him out of the bath and he has a fuzzy bathrobe that he likes to put on. So we put on the fuzzy bathrobe and we'd gone into his room and he was putting all his clothes in his laundry bin and then we were going to read stories. And he was like coming back to me after putting everything in his laundry bin in the corner. And all of a sudden he stops and he just kind of goes tiptoed and bow-legged and goes, oh, like this look of horror on his face. And it took me a hot second to be like, what is going on? And also I'm like, are you pooping? And he's like, yeah. And before I can do anything, he just drops a log onto the carpet.
This is an indicator that Julia has been away from patient care for too long. She couldn't tell the poop face.
I didn't recognize the poop face fast enough. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I couldn't see either because he's wearing this robe that goes down past his knees and all of a sudden just like this log it was like a thump onto the floor. It was like a bratwurst. And so I'm like, oh shoot. Or maybe shit is more appropriate.
I didn't get to see all of this.
No,
I just
he was
heard
at
it
the
from
other
down
end of
the
the
hall.
house. You were cleaning up the kitchen. Thank you very much.
And why
so.
specifically did I not get to see this?
No,
No. Because what did our dog do?
Okay, yeah. So I pick up Ethan, run into the bathroom, and pop him on the potty, and I go back because I see our dog sprint for the room. I'm like, no, and I go back. He has eaten the whole thing before I even get back in there.
So just remember,
I'm looking at you.
So just remember that,
you.
and it's not. It can't be just our dog. So just remember that when a dog's licking your face, they may or may not have just eaten a child-sized poop.
Eaten poop that day. Yes, dogs. We don't deserve them, and also they're so gross sometimes. So that happened,
gross.
and then he sat on the potty and had another.
And it was almost like 2 distinct poops.
Yeah.
There was a lighter color like squishy poop up top.
Yeah.
And then a harder color cannonball sized like poop below it. That was a darker color.
It was a 2-phase poop.
Yeah. It's like that was from yesterday and this one's from today.
This one's from today. It all came out at the same
I
time.
don't know why he's like he suddenly become like potty averse. Like he used to be like, I'll sit here all day long if you let me have the baby videos.
Yeah.
I'll sit here till my butt goes numb. And now he's like, he won't go on the potty.
Maybe it's just part of me being
because you had him poop in his pants twice the last week.
I did, and he's not done that in a year and a half. Our son hasn't been in daytime diapers since he was maybe 16 months old, and then he hasn't been in nighttime diapers since he was 2.
At least,
or more. Earlier. So let's chalk it up to I started a new job and there's some adjustment going on and maybe some
and as a male member of the species, we're gonna act out with poop, just the way it is.
As long as he's not throwing it and painting with it.
Not yet.
Just
wait till he learns that he can pick it up and throw it.
Ooh, monkey days are coming. So that to
So
kick
poop.
off our episode about
So
poop.
poop. Okay. I was supposed to do a little bit of research. I didn't. I figure between the two of us, we could probably just wing it.
That's okay.
And you have your phone.
I did research.
Okay, good. Okay, good. We're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about, like, obviously the importance of bowel care in nursing, specifically in oncology nursing, which bowel care is important in all nursing. Let's not try to say it's more important in oncology, but with oncology patients, same with palliative patients, they tend to get a lot more more narcotics than the general medicine population.
And not only that, like a lot of chemotherapy medications can be quite constipating themselves.
Or go the other way.
I mean, but I think people are more likely to think diarrhea when they think of chemotherapy, diarrhea and throwing up, than thinking constipation. But there are quite a lot of drugs that we give regularly, things like, say, vincristine, that can cause really bad constipation, that we need to be aware of when we're taking care of our patients. Because as my little niece said way back in the day, it's good to go poop.
It is good to go poop.
It is. It is important to go poop. It's important for everyone.
I got to tell you that 20 minutes after my morning coffee hits and I have like a really nice poop on the toilet, best part of my day sometimes.
What did that like come out like slightly Irish accent? Best part of my day sometimes. Pooping brings out your inner leprechaun.
I guess so. It's the treasure at the end of the rainbow.
No. Oh my god. Okay, so for people who are listening who are not nurses, Dave, let's address some common, maybe not myths, misconceptions, things that are good to know about going poop. First of all, how often should one be going poop?
Okay, so I'm sure you actually have a stat.
Go for it.
Okay, but when I was in Ontario, a couple of us went to a bowel care seminar.
Yep.
Now this was, 15 years ago. I'm sure it still applies, and I do try to keep this in mind. This is like the biggest takeaway that the presenter said. If you take away nothing else, take this way. And as a side note, before I get to what he said, as part of the evening's festivities,
you're gonna go poop at some
we had to try different laxatives. Just sips. It was like little shot glasses.
Oh, on your seminar.
Yeah, at the seminar. It was just like little shot glasses of like, this is what, lactulose is like. This is what DocuSet is like, which we don't really use DocuSet anymore in the hospital.
No.
I think,
well, not in oncology and palliative.
Yeah.
I think like acute care settings may still use it.
So anyways, it was like little shot glasses, all these different laxatives. So, and they had fed us dinner and wine and stuff. So that evening was a fun but unpleasant follow-up to the seminar. You knew it was going to happen. Yeah. But it was fun to do in the moment because they had us drinking, so they plied us well first. Yeah. Anyways, in the seminar, the guy said, if you take nothing else away from this seminar, understand everybody poops differently. Yeah. Some people will poop twice a day. Yep. Some people will poop every other day. Some people might not poop for a week. And he's like, and there have been a few cases in his practice, which I've also noticed once or twice in mine. Yep. Some people won't poop for like 2 or 3 weeks, and that's their normal. And the biggest thing he said is when that's their normal, you need to find out what their normal baseline is. Not affected by diet or not affected by drugs, etc. What is their normal? What has their lifetime habit been pooping? Yeah. You don't want to purposely try to get them on what we think is the normal schedule. We need to respect their schedule because that's where their gut is. That's how their gut bacteria works. And if we try to force it into a different schedule, we can cause a lot more problems. Yeah, I think... if you're doing holistic care, one of the first things, like if I have somebody who hasn't had a poop at the work in 3 or 4 days, one, I'll ask them first off, are you still passing gas? If they're still passing gas, I'm less concerned. Because things are still moving. Right? Yeah. But then I will ask them, what is your normal? Yeah. And half the time they'll tell me it's every 2 to 3 days. I'm like, then we're right on track. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, I don't need anything. And then in doing that, in remembering that, and trying to be holistic in that question, you've engaged them in their own care. They feel more empowered because, if a nurse comes in and says, hey, it's day 3, you're taking narcotics, you need to take this lactulose, they're probably going to take it. But you've done something that they don't need to do,
Mm-hmm.
and you've taken them out of their own equation when it comes to their own health.
Yeah.
Right. So that was the biggest thing, and it stuck with me ever since. Is I always ask them, "What is your normal?"
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I really like when they're on day 3, no bowels, and they say, "Well, it's 2 to 3 days is my normal." Then I'm like, "Oh, good. I don't have to worry about bowel care because I really hate bowel care."
Yes.
So,
yes,
so it's selfish that I asked that question for me.
Yeah.
But it empowers them without them knowing how selfish I'm being. So it's great. It works for both parties.
All right. So all the non-nurses out there, the general wisdom is if you're eating, you should be pooping. And generally a couple times a week is a good sum. A lot of not every day.
Yeah.
A lot of people will go every day. Some people will go multiple times a day.
Yeah.
People should probably be going a couple times a week, but I agree with we need to have a baseline of what is your normal before we start going crazy with bowel care.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that I think in a lot of clinical settings, we get ourselves behind the 8 ball by not being proactive with bowel care.
That's
and
fair.
Knowing what the normal is to start with. So when someone comes in, that should be something that we're assessing on admission and setting a baseline that we're aiming for. That's true enough.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you get someone who it's been 4 days and they're like, well, I go at least once a day. And you're like, oh, that's a pretty hefty backup.
That should actually, to interrupt you.
Yeah.
That would actually be a worthwhile addition to our admission questions.
Elimination is in the admission.
No, but it is in the, but not what's your regular pattern? Like what's your baseline? Yeah. That's not there. And if we added that and we put that into our shift report, then everybody would be on the same page. And instead of having really there are some nurses that love being aggressive with bowel care. Not that I'm saying that that's wrong, especially in our population group. But if we were all on the same page of, hey, John Doe only poops every 3 days. Yeah. We don't need to go overboard with making sure that he's pooping every day. Because then you're going to have a whole sort of other, give him, diarrhea. Who knows what else you're going to do? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to cause issues on the other ends because we know if we mess up elimination, then you can end up with other issues from everything from like bloating, pain, to dehydration, electrolyte imbalances, all sorts of things.
It's so interesting how important your bowels are to the rest of your health,
to the rest of your body, to the rest of your health. Yeah,
I mean it's the garbage chute. It's got to get rid of stuff, and if you want it to be working right.
Yeah, absolutely, you do.
I've never called poop in my butt the garbage chute before, but there you go.
There you go. Okay, here was something interesting. I wanted to bring this up because I totally read this.
Please don't steal my fact. I have one good fact.
What's your one good fact?
No. You go ahead, but I have one good fact, and I really hope that you don't steal it.
Well, maybe you should say it first.
No. It's not. No. You go ahead. You were started.
All right. So, if anyone happens to be, in a heterosexual marriage or partnership or something of some sort, I'm sure you will have noticed, even as a nurse, even if you're not a nurse, the difference between men and women pooping. Because there's definitely a difference. But that's scientific fact because men and women's colons are different because women have a whole lot more organs going on down there.
True.
By having a uterus, etc.
Yeah.
Our colons are actually longer.
And, to get around more things.
And there's more weight,
how does that affect your poops?
So I gotta make sure I did this right. So because wider pelvis, more organs in there, longer colonic length, you generally at least 10 centimeters longer, means you're more susceptible to bloating, more susceptible to having difficulty moving a consistent poop out and having motility issues. Yep. And I'm sure all the women out there can attest, your periods totally change your poops. Might be one way or another, you're normal, but some people deal with constipation and some people definitely deal with.
If I'm not cluing into if you're on your period or not, or having your period,
monitoring my bathroom habits.
When I all of a sudden notice that you're running to the bathroom more often, it's
that's also bleeding. Okay, let's not get too personal here.
No. When you come out and be like, oh, those period poops, I'm like, yeah.
Women, Period poops are a different thing.
I'm not trying to embarrass you.
Oh, but you
But
did.
Congratulations. I apologize. You brought up periods and pooping and stuff.
I did.
I know. I apologize. But this is what our viewers love. Stories about our
or maybe they're just sitting there cringing, being like,
"Oh, don't worry. We're gonna talk about our best poop stories."
Oh yes, we are. Not personal, like nursing.
Right. I might share one or two.
You might share one or two of your best. But
I think poop stories from whoever they are funny after the fact. And I don't shy away from some of my stories. They're embarrassingly funny and they're great. Like the time that I was on keto. The time I was on keto and eating like mostly like high fat.
Yeah.
And there was a period, like a 6-month period, where I was hardcore into keto, doing really well with it. Except I couldn't go further than like a 30-second walk from the house without rolling the dice on what's going to happen. And there was that one time that when we were living at our old place and I walked around the big long walk, which is about a 5-kilometer walk. Like a 3-kilometer walk.
Yep.
And I was at the very far end of the walk, like as far as away from the house that I could. And the keto just hit me. And it dumped all that biles and all that fat in my system. And it's like, you're you're pretty much right now. You can clench those buttholes as much as you want, but you're going now. And I had to find a spot in like the wild woods that like where in the housing development, I had to like find a spot where nobody was and just like crawl into like a hedge.
Pond area.
Yeah, into like a hedge and just pop the squat.
At least you had dog bags with you?
No, I don't think so. Or I had to use it for Sarge, and it was a mess. So I had to go home. I just had like my shirt hanging off the back of my jeans, just walking through town. Like, well, at least we lived in Mission. I mean, it didn't look like you were too far out.
No,
just t-shirt off, just chilling with the dog, walking real slow because you don't want anything else to be disturbed.
Yeah,
I didn't really feel that far out of place, but yeah, it was a problem.
Yep. That
wasn't the only time. There was a lot of keto poops.
That was that period of time.
Yeah. Anyway, so see, I don't mind telling all my stories.
All right. Okay. So here's another nursing question for both us as nurses and to inform people who aren't nurses. Yeah. What's the ideal poop color? Where does the poop color come from?
I want to say like dark medium brown.
Yeah, like a chocolatey brown.
Yeah. Chockies.
Chockies. As our 3-year-old, well, almost 3-year-old says.
It was.
Yeah. Okay. So, but what happens if you see other colors in poop?
It could be diet related.
It can be.
Right. Like if you're eating a lot of roughage and stuff like that, it could
be more greenish.
Yeah. Right. Lighter in color and floating.
Yeah.
More fats are so you're not metabolizing your fats properly, or your diet's something's changing your diet.
Or you're having liver issues, honestly.
Yep.
If you're not getting the bile.
Black. There's probably blood in your stool.
Where in your GI tract would the black stool?
I should know this. I'm too excited about my keto poop story. My brain's drawing a blank.
So if it's black, it means that you're bleeding higher up because your body's partially digesting the blood on the way down.
Yeah. So it's older.
Black, it's older, right?
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Whereas red is like it's at the lower end of your tract.
Frank red blood is like lower end of your GI tract, and maroon is probably somewhere in your large colon. Yeah, but black is probably
any of those things. You should go and talk to your doctor.
You should go see your doctor. Yeah. If the color of your poop is changing, and it's not because you made a drastic change to your diet or you're on meds or something of the sort, you should see your doctor.
Now, am I incorrect in thinking also that a healthy poop is supposed to not float?
It's supposed to not float, and it's supposed to be one continuous.
Yeah. Unless it's so big, it breaks apart.
Yeah, maybe.
And at that point, you take a picture and you send it to your significant other to say, see what happened?
Especially if your significant other's also a nurse.
Oh, man. People are going to be like, Dave's voice is a higher register. He's engaged. He's smiling. He must really. I do. I love poop.
Yep.
As much as I hate bowel care, I love talking about poop.
So let's move on to bowel care then.
Okay.
For, oh, actually, no, I was going to say, what makes poop that brown color?
Oof,
do you remember what it's called? No, I'm
mitochondria.
Those are the energy factories of the cells.
I don't know.
They produce ATP.
What are the things in Star Wars? That are the Force.
Midi-chlorians.
Midi-chlorians.
I can't believe I just out Star Wars geeked you
totally
there for a
did.
moment.
I'm like I said, I'm on the poop track
You're
right
just
now.
on the poop track.
Yeah.
Man, I never out Star Wars geek you.
Yeah, you do once in a while.
Well, it's a rare victory for me, I guess. Stercobilin is what it's called, but it's the breakdown and combination of the breakdown from your hemoglobin and then your bile that creates that compound that gives poop your color.
Cool.
I feel like I'm staring through my mic.
You totally are.
And I can't see you.
Yeah.
I can't see those pretty blue eyes.
There you go.
So bowel care in our settings.
Yeah.
You know, kind of talking about what is gold standard and what we normally use.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned DocuSate in that conference that you went to, which is much more of an acute care sort of thing because it's purely a stool softener and not usually effective for, you know, that's for someone who's having like a little bit of trouble with their poop maybe. And they probably should just drink more water and eat more fiber if that's the case. Yeah. But we use both stimulant and osmotic laxatives.
Well, I mean, we
like
used DocuSet for years. It's only in like the last 5 years or so that it's kind of gone away from our program.
Yeah, because research shows it does nothing for cancer and palliative patients.
It would always be, I would pretty much always give like a DocuSet every night. Just to help, just to help keep them like regular. Yeah. And now it's more like give them a Senecot.
Yeah. Yeah. So Senecot is a, do you know, stimulant or osmotic?
You know I haven't looked these things up.
Stimulant laxative, osmotic laxatives
there
are
you
like
go.
PEG.
See, this is the difference in how Julie and I approach nursing. Yeah. I know why I'm giving Senecot and I know what it does, but like the mechanism of action, and Julie is much more down with the science. I'm much more down with the practical side. I don't know what that.
I guess so. I'm the bigger nerd here. We all know it.
Yeah, you're just a big fat nerd.
I am.
I'm sorry. Was that wrong? You're just a big old nerd. Sorry.
You can call me whatever you want.
I feel especially after our last podcast, you know, I want to be careful about putting my foot in my mouth, and I want to be sensitive to where we are in today's culture. So, you know, but at the same time, I'm an idiot, and I'm sorry if I use the wrong term sometimes.
I don't know what you're talking about, but
the fat part.
Oh,
you're not fat. You're
I'm
sexy.
Not offended. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh my God, this got weird.
This did get weird. I
so
know
awkward.
So let's go back to poop.
Okay, poop. Thanks. Thank God. Poop.
Poop. Saved by the poop. All right. So
I'll just say right now, I apologize if you're watching the podcast and I've overused the poop emoji by now.
Like, and you're gonna add it on afterwards.
It'll just be raining poop emojis.
Which originally was meant to be actually something else. What was
like
it meant
chocolate
to be?
Ice cream?
Yeah, chocolate soft serve is what it's supposed to be, and then it got co-opted to poop, and that's all we know it as.
Like those poop sequin things.
Oh, like the pillows.
The pillows.
When flip sequin things were huge. I don't know if they are still so huge with little girls. I mean, I'm a boy mom and I'm not around a lot of little girls, but like when flip sequins were so huge, everybody had those poop.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Sequin pillows.
Yeah.
Should have had one for this.
Yeah, we totally should have.
Maybe we'll find one and we'll do a giveaway.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, we keep getting distracted by poop.
Poop. Oh, I thought this would be a perfect time to like dive into some stories if you wanted to, but I was going to ask first. Okay, you got someone who hasn't pooped in days, and that's not their normal. Yeah. What's your favorite go-to? What do you do?
Okay, so I'll go through the few like the normal things first. Like if it's like day 2 or 3 and they are passing gas and they think they're going to be closed and it's a night shift, I'll just give them some Senecot. Yeah. I don't like giving lactulose at night. I find it just does more cramping and then they're just awake all night long. Yeah. But if they're like, it's really close and I need help, then I will give like a lactulose. But if it's like a day shift and it's day 3 and they're not really passing a lot of gas and they are eating and stuff still, I'll go with the brown cow. Yeah. I much prefer I much prefer the top down than the back end of the garbage chute. Yeah. The brown cow. So a brown cow.
What goes into it?
Okay. Let me see. Oh, lactulose. Yeah. And it's about is it a 1-to-1-to-1 mixture, right? Yeah. Yeah. So it's lactulose, milk of mag. Yep. And cascara. Yep. And cascara is
Derived from...
I don't know, but it smells like black licorice.
It's derived from the coffee berry.
Oh, okay. Is that where black licorice is derived from?
I don't know about that, but no, it's derived from the coffee berry that goes around the coffee bean.
Yeah.
Which
makes total sense.
Total sense. Why coffee gets you going poop.
And I like black licorice.
Yeah.
I've been tempted so many times to just try cascara.
Well, I don't know if anyone remembers, but a few years back, Starbucks
had a
cascara latte.
Yeah.
It had like a cascara syrup.
Yeah, it was a thing.
It was a thing. It was a flavor thing that they were.
Yeah,
and they were
so
talking
weird.
about how it came from like the coffee berry and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember walking in the first time and seeing that and laughing so hard.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, in the hospital, this is what we give you when you haven't pooped in several days. But now you can pay Starbucks $5.50 to give it to you instead.
Yeah. I totally remember that. That was so weird.
Cascara lattes.
And they had their nice posters with like the coffee berry and stuff on them. And yeah.
100%. But all I could think of was brown cow bombs.
Yeah.
One year for one of our staff parties, we did up little liquor shots that were like some cream liqueur and Kahlua and something else. I don't remember.
What's the black liquor? Zambuca.
Yeah, and we did like little shots and called them brown cow bombs for our staff.
And then you want to serve it warm. Not hot because
like
it's
10 seconds in the microwave.
It's syrupy, so it can actually if you do it too long, it can actually get quite hot because the viscous. I don't know, just whatever. But yeah, you want to serve it warm, and that way it really gets to work on the system. Mm-hmm. So that's my go-to.
Effective.
Yeah, that's my go-to.
Yeah, same here.
I know nurses who their go-to is like give them an enema, just stick a tube up. I'm like dear Lord,
nobody likes that.
Come on.
I don't know why you're so. Yeah, I mean there are
give them a party drink to start with.
I hate black licorice, by the way. And can I just say, like, I stomached those shots because I thought it was funny, but I detest Sambuca.
Yeah.
The first shot my friends ever bought me on my 19th birthday was a shot of straight Sambuca.
Yeah, that's weird. Did they set it on fire?
Yeah. But it was weird. I'm like,
that's probably because it looks cool because you can set it on fire and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm like,
but that's a weird one to start with.
That like as the first.
There's so many other like fun things like polar bears and Supermans and all sorts of
things
other
that
fun
like
shots.
Taste good. I hate the taste of black
licorice. Yeah. That's a little bit of an odd one for your first shot.
So thanks to all my friends who took me out on my 19th birthday.
Oh man, I remember going to the bars when I was younger. Those were good times.
I was gonna say,
that's all.
Were you also remembering your like post drunken night poops?
No, just going to the bars, having all those kind of shots. That's all.
That's the thing. All right.
As a almost 43-year-old dad, all I have is the memories.
Well, you're going to go to Vegas in a couple months, so it's not just going to be memories.
Yeah, I'll probably instantly regret this choice.
You guys are going to have so much fun.
We are.
He's going without me, I must say.
You've been to Vegas twice and you've hated it.
I've never liked it.
And
I'm sorry. For all the people who love Vegas out there, it's not me.
There's been extenuating circumstances both times that have like conspired against enjoying it. Mm-hmm. And I think if we went to Vegas and we did the things that you want to do, like go to a hockey game or go to a show and go to bed at 11 at night and whatnot, then you might actually enjoy Vegas.
I just don't want to feel like walking the strip at 4 a.m.
The gambling and the up all night and the overstimulation, especially at night with the lights, isn't for you. But and that's what Vegas used to be all about, and it still very much is.
Yeah.
But daytime Vegas has really reinvented itself too. I don't know, like during the pandemic, what it's like, but anyways, wow, that's real digression. Yeah. That's not even poop related.
About Vegas.
Although all the rich food that you eat there will definitely get you pooping. So
yeah.
Anyways,
so why don't we
segue
back into? Why don't we tell some good clinical poop stories? You got some good ones stored up there. You want me to tell one while you're thinking?
Yeah,
you were supposed to think about this before, and you told me you were all excited.
I have so many. I'm just wondering what ones are appropriate.
Okay, well, I'm gonna tell one because I think in our last episode, I gave a subscriber in the wild shout out to Tanis, who we used to work with on our unit. And this one involves her. So Tanis, this is for you. You might still hate me for this. So I had this patient who hadn't pooped in like 6 days, this poor little old lady. And she was just in agony. She just wanted to poop, but couldn't. She kept getting up to the bathroom. Nothing was coming. And so finally, and she didn't speak very good English. So we were finally able to communicate, okay, we are going to actually go through and give you an enema. It just seems like, like I did a DRE there. I'm like, there's stuff there. Digital rectal exam. Glove up, lube up, check to see if there's poop there. There was, and it was.
Important part of those steps was the glove up section.
Yes.
If you forget anything else, it'll be like unpleasant and stuff, but glove up.
Yes, glove up. And why would anyone not glove up? In a clinical setting. Let's not talk about.
I'm just saying. I also know that there have been times where people are just like in a rush and things get forgotten.
Gloves, essential. I don't know how you forget gloves.
I don't know how you leave the nursing station without gloves.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Or at least like walk into the room and put them on right away.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I checked. There's lots of poop there. This poor lady, it's really hard. So I'm like, okay, girl, we're going to get you going. So I gave her an enema. And left her in the bed, gave her the call bell, and said, okay, try and let this work as long as you can. Try and keep it in. And then we'll come and get you up. And she was pretty sick and weak. So she was having trouble getting up as well. So me and a coworker were going to go back and help her up into a commode. So she rang the bell and I grabbed my buddy Tanis. And I'm like, okay, Tanis, come help me with this lady. And we went to go and see where things were at with her. And I had just incontinence pads and stuff, like the flat ones, not the disposable briefs. But the absorbent pads under her just in case for giving the enema and etc. And so we went to try and roll her, or she had gone a little bit onto that pad already. So I'm like, okay, we'll clean that up. We'll roll you. We'll get you up. We went to roll her to get her out, and she rolled towards Tanis, and all of a sudden, poop just started pouring out of this woman, like a sub sandwich sized poop. Just
it's all lubed up from the enema.
Just lubed up, and it is just coming, and it just keeps coming. And I'm not kidding you. It was like it ended up
just like as a continuous log.
Continuous, just like right. And this poor lady was like, oh. Like she was like embarrassed, but also like, oh, such a relief, right? And I am trying so hard not to laugh because it just, I don't know why it was funny, but it just kept coming out of this tiny little lady that was smaller than me. This poop was the size of my arm.
Like all I can kind of picture is like, those gutter extruders that just like they turn on and the gutter just like creates and comes out.
That's exactly what it was. But then this was going on, like I had incontinence pads and stuff there. So it was just going on to there. So I'm like, whatever, she can go on that. We'll clean it all up. We'll clean her up. It's good. But I don't know why I could not stop laughing. So I'm silently shaking laughing and like tears are rolling down my face. But this, like, I'm trying so hard to like not be out loud about it. But this patient is luckily facing away from me. But this patient is facing towards Tanis because Tanis was helping her roll. So Tanis, poor Tanis, I'm so sorry, girl. She has to try and keep a straight face as I am like laughing my ass off and like crying and shaking with laughter, being like, oh my God, this poop is just pouring out. I swear she gave me a well-deserved like punch in the arm afterwards. Being like, oh my God. That I had to keep a straight face. You made it so hard.
That happens more often than not in team nursing.
Well,
where one is just losing their mind over something that's happening.
It's honestly,
and it's the nurse that's like not facing the patient.
Yes, thank God.
Professionalism and stuff. But there's always usually one nurse that's just losing their mind.
Oh yeah, I mean, between the overworked, underslept, overcaffeinated, stressed, whatever, something happens and it just trips you. And like every now and then, I'm sure everyone in other industries too, or just in your normal life, you get a moment where you just can't stop laughing and you just have the giggles. And this was that moment for me. And I almost bit a hole through my cheek trying to keep a semi-straight face when she rolled back. And she was all like, she was both like so embarrassed and apologetic, but then you could just see like the sheer relief in her face. And so we were all kind of like laughing, smiling, but at the end being like, oh my goodness, this is so good. Like, yay, you went poop. You must feel better. This is a great thing. And we walked out and Tanis punched me.
Okay. So I got two stories.
Okay.
But first I'll try to remember that this time.
Yeah.
Hey, if you enjoy our poop stories, make sure you like and subscribe and follow on anywhere that you listen or watch podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google, all of those places. We are at the 24G podcast. You can find us there or at the 24gpodcast.com.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for all the... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We're all on all the different venues, avenues, and platforms. And I was going to say we'd love it if you left us a rating, and if you wanted to send us feedback or funny messages or selfies.
Yeah, let us know that you actually are watching. It's nice to know that people are in fact being engaged and entertained by our content.
Feel free to DM us or email us at
the 24G podcast at gmail.com.
There you go. We love you guys. Like and subscribe.
Okay.
All right. Dave's got good poop stories coming up.
2 stories.
Mm-hmm. I got to stretch out here my ankles.
One.
I want to sleep. Nice white socks with black pants. July.
One is personal.
Oh boy.
But it really, my personal story really, for the first time in my life, really let me understand what our patients are going through with constipation. So that's my personal one.
Yes.
And then I have so many good poop stories. I think that one of the very first times I was amazed by the sheer volume of poop that can come out of a human being.
Yep.
I was an ESN at
employed student nurse
in Ontario, working at a hospital, and it was the night shift, and we did rounds, and we worked with an elderly population. And me and the nurse I was working with, we do a 2:00 round, anyways, in the middle of the night. And this guy hadn't had a poop in a couple of days. Really needed to go. Said he was gonna go, but still hadn't been able to. And so I don't think it's still practiced today. But what we did was the slings, like the sit slings, not the ones where they're laying flat, but where they are in the sitting position.
Yep.
We put them in that sling, and then you just hoof them up on the bed a little bit.
Yeah.
And you put your pads out underneath them.
Yeah.
And that just gets them into that more streamlined seating position, which is actually the better ideal position to poop in.
Yep.
Nothing was happening, so the nurse I was with just gave a little DRE to kind of like break the seal, so to speak. And then the clip in Jurassic Park where it's the sick rhino or the sick bronchiosaurus or whatever, right in the beginning when they're like at the park and exploring it, and
the triceratops.
Oh, the triceratops, yeah, and there's like a big pile of poop.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Wow.
And I was like we had to lower the bed as he was pooping so it wouldn't get on it, because it was just so much poop kept coming. The pile was growing.
So you lowered the bed under him because he was hanging in the air above it.
Yeah.
Just to create more space for.
Yeah, because the poop kept growing. It was a lot of poop.
And you've been storing that up for a couple days.
Yeah,
poor guy. I must have felt relieved.
Yeah, at least, right?
Yeah.
So that was the first time as a student I was overawed with the amount of poop the human body can store, which is ridiculous. And it's not meant to. I mean, it can, but it's not meant to.
No.
Anyway, so then my poop story was a couple of years. Was it during the pandemic? I think we already had Ethan. I think so, right?
I thought it was when you had your surgery.
No. It wasn't surgical related. It was probably stress and cheese related. To be honest. It was probably that combination.
Yep.
And I didn't really think about it. I was, working and stressed and, just kind of a bit of in zombie mode. It must have been like in the first year that we had Ethan. Bit of a zombie mode, so I wasn't really thinking about it. But I guess I hadn't had a poop in a couple of days. Maybe even more than a couple of days. And then it finally worked its way through my system, but not where I could push it out. Where I was constipated, but it was like pressing right on the rectum and stuff. It's like, okay, we need to come out, but you've ignored us for so long. You haven't drank enough water, and now you need to pass like a brick.
Yeah.
And that butthole is not big enough for what's coming. We're
getting so personal tonight.
I was diaphoretic. Like it hit me at like dinner time. I just went white as a ghost. Diaphoretic. I was like, I told Julia I had to excuse myself. I felt nauseous. I went and laid in bed and was just moaning. And Julia was like, "What's going on?" She's like calling out from the kitchen and stuff. And I needed a little nursing intervention at that point to really help get things going, and then sitting on the toilet afterward. I don't know if we had our bidet by. Oh, we did. I think we had our bidet by then, which thank God I could give myself like a little enema to like help things like move along with the right angle and stuff. Which if you don't have a bidet, get one because they're amazing. But
yeah, shout out to Tushy.
yeah,
Not sponsored post, but
yeah, but thank God
2 thumbs up from
really
this
helped
nursing
me.
couple.
It was the first time, like, it was embarrassing. One, for me to be like, Julia, I need you to put your nursing cap on right now and really help me with this.
And give you a suppository.
Yeah, give me a suppository, which was really embarrassing. I was just in so much pain I couldn't like manage it myself. And then but it really and it stuck with me since then, when our patients are constipated, just what they're going through. When they say like it feels like it's right there and it really hurt, like just how you can't if you've never been through it, you can't think of anything else. Your brain is fully occupied with this idea that you have to poop. And until you do, it does not, that you can't function.
Yeah.
So it made me much more sympathetic and much more diligent in my bowel care.
Empathetic. It's empathetic, right?
I always get them wrong, but that's okay. Anyway, so that's my other story there. Yeah. Oh, so I kind of think, are we? Oh, so I want to talk about the Bristol stool chart.
Oh yes,
because we live and die by the Bristol stool chart. So okay, so the Bristol stool chart is a pictorial chart with descriptions that let you know where you are on your healthy poop journey.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you want to be a 3 or a 4, which is what a normal poop looks like. A 4 is a bit more smooth, snake-like, but it's still intact and solid, and it's okay. A 7 is there's no poop to see. It's just water.
It's a pictorial scale on a scale of 1 to 7.
1 to 7, yeah.
7 is just straight watery diarrhea, and 1 is like hard nuggets.
Like, yeah.
Turds.
Yeah,
whatever.
like they'd be like little rocks.
Like little wombat poops, but not perfectly
square.
Cubed. Yeah.
So 7 is like straight water.
Yep.
And that's problematic if you're at a 6, and a 6 is like mushy.
Yeah.
But like still quite like loose with no like real defined edges, but it's not water.
Yeah.
But at a 6 or a 7, it can be quite problematic, because when we haven't really talked about this, but with like uncontrolled diarrhea, which is what some of our patients get, where they get like chemo-induced diarrhea or they get a bug,
immunotherapy-induced diarrhea.
Yeah. They can have uncontrolled diarrhea for days on end, and when you have it that long, your body can't absorb anything. In fact, it dumps things out from your system, and so you can go into dehydration and electrolyte imbalances and stuff like that. So if that's happening for more than like, I would say 24 hours, you should really go and talk to somebody about it.
Yeah.
If there's no real known cause for it and stuff like that, and you're like at home, you could always try Imodium. But if Imodium doesn't work within a day, I would think that you would probably, or a day or two, you would probably need to get looked at.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. Now, we are medical professionals, but we aren't a doctor. So always follow your doctor's best advice when it comes to your diarrhea and what you should or should not be doing.
Should or not. Drink lots of water for starters.
This isn't medical advice. It's just our opinions based on what we've seen
and experienced.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the Bristol stool chart, it's an interesting thing. I think it's like, I don't know the universally, but like in North America, it's universally.
It's like
used.
within Western medicine, actually, like throughout Europe and North America, it's used as a standardized way to kind of to categorize the quality of someone's poop, and that gives you lots of information about their overall health, because honestly, poop tells you a whole lot about how someone's doing.
It really does. Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
So as nurses, definitely we use that when we were talking about Ethan. We'd be like, oh yeah, today was like a 3 or a 4. So I'm like, today was a 2. We got to get this guy more water.
Yeah. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Did you have any other great?
I had my fact. I had a fact. I had the fact. Okay, so there's a sort of poop that we get in the hospital that once you have partaken of the experience, You will never forget it, and it's C. diff. Okay,
that's one of them.
Well, okay, there's lots, but
yes,
C. diff is one that like
evil.
It has. When I first started, I would definitely say it has like a distinct smell.
Yeah.
But it seems like C. diff's evolved, and it kind of can trick you a little bit sometimes. That darn bug.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's a fairly distinct smell, and even with a mask on during the pandemic and stuff, if you're in a room with a patient who has C. diff and they're needing like care for it, they're not independent, can't get up to the washroom on their own, so you're in there helping them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
With that constant cleaning and stuff, and the constant in the room, it just kind of permeates.
Yep.
And it doesn't go away. And you come home, and especially like with a beard and stuff, I really notice it.
Yeah.
Not that I'm getting C. diff on my beard.
But the smell just kind of lingers.
The smell just kind of lingers, and my beard acts as like a trap for the smell.
Yeah.
And you can just really continuously smell that C. diffy smell for like at least like a night.
Yeah.
When you come home after a particularly long shift with C. diff.
Quick rundown for those who are not nurses. C. diff stands for Colostrum difficile. It's a particular type of bacteria that you can get that can cause really bad diarrhea, but also really toxic concerns to your colon and can potentially be deadly. So it's not to be messed with, and it can happen often in the hospital. People will get colonized by it, and if they're also on antibiotics that are decolonizing them of their normal gut bacteria, you get an overabundance of C. diff, you get watery diarrhea and all sorts of sickness. It's really not fun for patients. Yeah. And then you have to be very careful about it not getting passed from patient to patient.
Yeah, but it's very spreadable.
Very spreadable. Very like,
especially within a vulnerable patient group.
Yeah, exactly. And it does smell particularly awful.
Okay, so the reason I bring it up though is because we were talking, Rebecca and I were talking about this at work the other day. Hi, Rebecca. And she made a she told me this stat, and I was like, is that actually true? And we went and looked it up. So your nose, the olfactory sensor in your nose, has an ability to remember long term up to 50,000 different smells.
Wow.
And then there's a thing that happens in your brain where it takes those smells and combines them with your memory.
Yep.
So smells can trigger memory. We all know that, right?
Yeah.
So a fun thing, a part of that article that I was reading, they were saying if you're, and this doesn't have to do with poop. Well, maybe it does. Maybe you like
we'll
poop,
bring it back.
But
we'll bring it back around at some point.
They were saying if you're doing something that's quite memorable and stuff like that, breathe through your nose more.
I mean, I think generally the advice is we need to breathe through our nose more, but that's a good thing to remember.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
50,000 different smells that your little nose can remember. Yeah.
Do you want to know what one of the best pieces of advice that I got in nursing school was? This is from a friend of mine who was already a nurse when I went into nursing school. It was one of the few key people who kind of influenced me into going into nursing. Her name's Alana. She lives in Winnipeg. Hey, Alana. Anyways, her trick was, she's like, either you have Vicks Vapor Rub with you if you're dealing with a bad smell. She's like, or when you walk out of a room and you use hand sanitizer, just one good, that'll definitely clear the nostrils. Alcohol hand sanitizer. That's my go-to if I'm in a room where things are like bad smells. I'm like, I can't have this linger.
Just to overpower that scent there.
Clear out the nose because you got to get rid of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there you go. Well, and on a practical note.
Well, yeah, that works not only for C. diff, but things like,
melena.
Yeah, I was gonna say melena or like
bad wounds.
Not bowel obstruction. What is it? GI bleeds.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah,
we're getting to the end of the night, Julie. I can't form words anymore, but GI bleeds have a very particular smell as well, and that will stick with you. Yeah.
So there we go.
There we go.
I think it was pretty good.
Hopefully that was entertaining, a little informative. Some we talked about a lot of non-poop things too, but lots about poops.
Yeah.
We're going to end this episode. I'm going to think of like 3 or 4 or 8 more poop stories that I could have told that were way funnier. But oh well. Maybe we'll pepper those in other episodes.
That's a good one though.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, thanks for watching and listening. Again, make sure you follow and subscribe anywhere that you like to listen and watch podcasts. And until maybe next week, Julia's working the 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and then I'm on shift work still. So our schedules aren't quite as conducive to making podcasts, but we keep trying. So Yeah, and like Julia said, leave a comment or, let us know what you think about our shorts or our reels or any of our stuff.
If you like us, click the thumbs up. And if you don't like us, double click the thumbs down.
Or just click the thumbs up anyways. Anyways, that's all for now. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.